Today in our 2013 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited, we'll be installing the Roadmaster Brake-Lite relay kit for towed vehicles, part number RM-88400. Okay, here's what our Brake-Lite relay kit looks like installed. It goes into an existing fuse tap on the vehicle. This will allow you to hook up to a supplemental braking system when you're flat towing your Jeep. That way, when the brake pedal's depressed inside the Jeep, you don't have to worry about that overriding the turn signal coming from the motorhome, and you only have your brake lights on the back of the Jeep, and you don't have your turn signal working properly. With this in place, your brake light switch inside the vehicle does not have any power going to it unless the key is in the on position of the Jeep when you're driving it. That way, when you're driving it, it functions like normal, and you don't have to worry about your brake lights not working. But when the key is in the off position, you can press on the brake pedal all you want, and the brake lights won't come on. You'll be relying upon the signals from the RV treating your Jeep as a trailer. Now that we've gone over the features, we'll show you how to get it installed. All right, first thing we need to do is gain access to our brake light switch. It's located up behind our dash, basically behind this panel here. So you can grab this panel, disconnect it, set it on down. We'll find two 10mm bolts behind this black panel. We'll remove those. We'll lift up and set that aside. Right, here's our stoplight switch right here, and there's our connector for it. We'll unplug the connector right now. Now we need to find the cold side of a brake light switch. I already know which side's the cold side because our vehicle has a brake controller installed. It's this white and brown wire, which is where our brake controller is tapped into. Now, if you don't have a brake controller installed on your vehicle and you want to test to make sure the wiring color is correct, you can use a test light, and if you don't have any signal coming from the brake light switch until you step on the brake pedal, then you know that that's the cold side. So I'll just go ahead and cut this guy right there, and we'll add two butt connectors to either end. We're going to remove this quick connector here to get rid of that, and we'll tie that wire in with our connection. Okay, with that removed, we have plenty of wire to work with now. We'll strip back some of the insulation. We'll tie these two wires together. We'll insert a blue butt connector into it. We'll crimp that down. And the other end, we'll strip that off too. And we'll place on a blue butt connector on that as well. Here's what our connector looks like now that we've used our butt connector on both ends where we cut, and we hooked our brake controller wire back on. Now in our relay harness here, there's 5 wires. We're only needing 4. We don't need this blue wire. This is on other vehicles that have like push button starts, like some Ford products and some newer Jeeps. So we'll just cut that wire off so we don't have to mess with it. And we'll be using the green wire first, and this will go to the side closest to the connector for our brake light switch. So that'll go on this butt connector here, and we'll crimp it on down. Now our black wire will hook into the other butt connector. This will allow our brake lights to still operate. All right, with that in there, we'll crimp it down. Okay. We'll double check all of our connections, make sure they're nice and tight, which they are. Okay, our white wire here is our ground wire. We're going to ground this to an existing ground point already on our chassis right here. I grabbed a different ring terminal. It comes with a significantly smaller one than what I'm going to use. I'm using this to fit over the existing stud. So we'll take our wire. I'm just going to double it back here a little bit so it fits in our connector tighter. And we'll crimp this down. Take off one of these nuts. Slide the ring terminal over. Reinstall the nut. Snug it back down. Now our red wire is our final wire. We need to attach this to a fuse spot on the vehicle that only has power when the ignition's running. Now it comes with a length of wire to attach inside the vehicle, but our fuse box is underneath the hood here on this vehicle, so we'll be using some longer wire. We sell it by the foot on our website as part number 16-1-1. It's sold by the foot. We're going to use about 10 feet. Okay, so here's our extra wire that we're using to go to the fuse box. Couldn't find a red wire to match, so I just found what I had. So we'll install a butt connector on that. And this will attach to a red wire. Now this green wire here, we need to pass this through the firewall in our vehicle. Since this vehicle is equipped with an automatic transmission, there's a pre-existing grommet that's easy to pass through. Here's the grommet that we're talking about underneath the hood. I've already pushed the wire through. Now I'll grab it and pull it onto the engine bay. Okay, with all of our connections made underneath the dash now, we'll plug our stoplight switch back in. Once it clips in place, we know we're good. And we'll make sure we plug our relay into our relay socket. So we'll just push it in. So we got everything tucked up here now. Now we'll just reinstall our panels the way they were installed originally. We went ahead and routed our wire that we extended across our firewall over towards where our battery and our fuse box is. We'll be using this 10 amp fuse here in the fuse box. This fuse only has power when the ignition's on. We'll remove it. Place into our fuse tap here on the bottom side. This will protect the circuit that the fuse is removed from. We'll add our included 10 amp fuse into our fuse tap. This will supply power to our kit for the Brake-Lite relay. And we'll push this down into position, like so. And we'll make a notch in our fuse box lid. Okay, we'll close the lid on up. And I'll measure off how much of our wire we're going to need, cut off the excess, and we'll strip it back. And install it into our fuse tap. Now our key is not on the ignition, so we don't have any power going through the circuit, so we're safe to make our connection. And that completes our installation of the Roadmaster Brake-Lite relay kit for towed vehicles, part number RM-88400 on our 2013 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited.
Click the link below to shop, learn more, or visit us at eTrailer.com.